baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Dallas, come on.
I don't have any control over it.
Dallas.
I don't have any control over it.
I think if there's anyone in baseball that is not actually on the team that directly has an impact on the play on the field, it's you to the Oakland A's. How did you let last night happen?
Jared, I've been an average hitter, maybe at the highest level that I hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I just pitched.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what I was going to be able to do may or may not have been able to impact the game.
Sure.
I appreciate the sentiment. But at this point, they're just words for me. They're just words. I can't do anything. That's one of the greatest parts about my job now is no matter how good or bad things go, typically my ERA stays the same number that it's been since the last pitch I threw.
It's not that.
And so I don't have much to do with what goes on, but I am there to bear witness. And well, last night there's a lot of mixed emotions.
You know what? I'm gonna read your tweet here. Dallas had a tweet where he says, "Dear baseball, you always deliver. It was an honor, as it is every night, to watch this game played at its highest level. You never know what you're going to see when you show up to the ballpark, which is why we should always appreciate every moment we have there. Sincerely, DB." What did you really want to say?
I said it exactly how I wanted to say it. And that's why I followed up with what I followed up with this morning is an obvious bag of mixed emotions for obvious reasons. And that's what makes the game of baseball, and I think sport in general, exciting, makes it very interesting, is because you find and you come across people who have the ability to separate and compartmentalize things. And you come across people who are like, yo, that's great. That sounds like the high road. And I'll take that, like, in real life if I need to. But this is sports and this is tribalistic. And so I'm here to tell you to hell with each and all of them or that dude or those people. And it's like, okay, that's fair too. I can understand that as well. You spent your hard-earned money cheering for one team, which means you basically want the other team to fall off a cliff. I get it. And so fans, they carry that kind of passion with them. And there was, without a doubt, a lot of that kind of passion coursing through the Coliseum last night. Because with Domingo Germán comes a lot of, I don't want to say question marks because I think the questions have been answered.
Yeah.
But there comes
daylight.
with a lot. Yeah, comes with a lot of like, well, you know what? It's really tough for me to cheer for the individual, which I understand. And that's why I framed it the way I did, is because, yeah, I've got a problem with domestic abuse. Yeah, I've got a problem with that. So it does make it tough to celebrate the human being in a moment like this. But that's why I try to keep as level of a head as I can, because the game of baseball is what I watched last night. And individuals playing the game of baseball who are the most talented in the world are how I get to watch the game of baseball. And if I'm going to allow those human beings to affect the way I call the game, then that's a me thing. And it's my responsibility to be able to filter through that. And that's what I did. And that's what I will always do. And having a platform like this gives me an opportunity to talk in more detail about how I feel about things like that, where in the moment, it is just simply not the time. And that is not my job in that moment. My job is to convey the emotions that individual might be feeling, what's going on in their brain, and just accept what we're watching unfold on the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
From there, if as fans you want to involve the human emotion, by all means. I mean, that's your prerogative. That's what makes being a fan so great, is there's no rules to why you care or how much you care or how much you don't care. That's what makes this great. And so watching that unfold last night, yeah, was tough. it was tough because I understand the human element to it and why a lot of people were rooting and rallying against it. And I'll say this, I'm sure that you guys are already aware, but here's the human element to it. A couple days ago, he had somebody very close to him in his family circle pass away. Right? Someone he looked to as an uncle / father figure. So not a direct uncle relative, but for me, that doesn't matter because this is somebody who's probably been a big part of his life for a long time. And he lost that individual. That individual's gone from his life. And so during the mourning process, he still chooses to show up and play baseball because for a lot of us, that's just what you do. That's the best way that you can get over something tragic in your life like that, is being able to walk into that clubhouse and those doors close behind you. And with that come the arms of your teammates. They wrap even tighter around you. And it's even tough in that room because there's probably folks who disagree with how Domingo Germán has handled things in the past. But that's in the past. And in that moment right there, they're a team and they're coming together for that individual. And that might not resonate with fans. And again, that's okay. I'm not asking you to be okay with it. I'm just trying to give you some insight as to how things go in that clubhouse in a time like this when it happens with somebody like Domingo Germán.
Yeah, no, that guy. I don't care. It's one of those things where I get it. Because I was getting it from Yankee fans being like, oh, you won't tweet this because it's a Yankee. I don't give a f. Like, it's not about him being a Yankee. The dude slapped the shit out of his girlfriend. And then there were Yankee fans trying to justify it by being like, well, like, yes, he did do that, but they eventually got married and had a kid. Like, he got a second chance and like they're still together. I don't care. I don't have to. I'm not going to tell you how you should feel. And you shouldn't tweet me being like, you need to celebrate this guy. No, I don't. No, I don't. And I won't. I don't give a f. Like, here's what happened. So we haven't even said what, like, if someone discovers this episode 2 years from now, they're going to be like, what the f are they talking about? Domingo Germán of the New York Yankees threw a perfect game last night. This is the podcast the following morning. In September 2019, Germán and his girlfriend, now wife, attended a charity gala held by then teammate CC Sabathia. Many of Germán's 2019 teammates were also there with their families. Sources said Germán slapped his girlfriend at the event, but the MLB investigation focused primarily on what happened at his home later that night. According to multiple league sources, including a person with knowledge of the MLB investigation, Germán was intoxicated and became physically violent toward his girlfriend until she hid in a locked room. She reportedly contacted the wife of one of Germán's teammates, and the couple drove to Germán's home late at night. She remained with the teammate's wife while the two attempted to calm down Germán, who is said to have been angry and belligerent. The incident was reported to MLB by a different member of the Yankees staff. Like, all right, cool. They worked on things. They're married now. They had it, whatever. Like, they fixed. Good for them. I don't give a like. I'm not gonna. It has nothing to do with him being a Yankee. If they converted Aroldis Chapman to a starter and he did the same thing for the Royals, don't care. Like, I don't tweet Marcell Ozuna home run. I love the Braves. I don't tweet Ozuna home runs anymore. Like, once you kind of cross that line, like, I don't know, you're dead to me. I don't give a f. So, yeah, it's one of those. Even I saw like Yankee fans being like, anyone but him. Like, cool accomplishment, but why did it have to be him? And that's how I felt watching it. I was just like, I think I tuned in after the 7th. He was perfect through 7, and I turned on the A's broadcast and figured he would probably lose it in the 8th. And then we came out for the 9th. I was like, well, someone's going to come through in the 9th. Until it happened, I didn't think it was going to happen because this dude has been this month. He's not been a good pitcher. And on top of like the domestic violence stuff, he's been suspended for cheating. Like, this is the worst possible guy to be glorified on a national baseball stage. I don't give a if your wife gave you a second chance. That's great from a personal standpoint. Like, in your personal life, great. Like, as a baseball fan, I do not have to appreciate the baseball achievement. No, I don't. You're a bad person and you're a bad baseball player. You suck at baseball. You've cheated in the game of baseball and you're a piece of shit off the field. I don't give a you and your perfect game.
And that right there is exactly what I just said in human form.
Yeah.
And that's what, and everything you just said, everything you just did is everything that I said I understand, am more than okay with. And that's what makes the game beautiful, is because there are those feelings within the game that, oh man, this quite literally could have been anybody else, and we would be okay with celebrating it. And that's the thing, is you said a word which I agree with. There's a difference between being glorified in this achievement and then having the achievement acknowledged and essentially moving on from that, kind of treating it just like he went 5 1/3, gave up 3, and the Yankees were able to squeak the victory out. You can, if you choose, acknowledge it just like that. Give it no more stock, give it no more weight than just another game, if you so choose. And that's fine. Ultimately, you don't get to have a say in where the record books reflect how this went down. But I get it if there's going to be no glorification for all of the reasons you just laid out. So one thing about baseball, though, is if you give yourself 10 minutes to dive into a lot of folks, there's a solid chance you might come across something that you don't connect with, that you don't see eye to eye with, that you were probably completely unaware that some of the people that you have glorified over the course of your childhood and now adulthood probably wouldn't line up. And if you knew those things about those people, you might have a little bit of a different opinion. But that's why, I think that's a futile exercise trying to go back and define characters of individuals when ultimately we are there to address how the game has been played by them, not how good of a babysitter we think they would have been away from the baseball field. Like, those are two different conversations.